Today, I'll be talking about an invention or idea generating activity designed to help you get started called looping. Essentially, looping involves blending a series of free writing sessions with brainstorming sessions between each loop. You begin by setting a timer for 7 minutes and free writing until it turns off. There really are no rules for free writing. You don't even have to have any ideas in mind when you start writing. You just have to start and try to keep going without stopping and thinking. When I free write, if I get stuck, I will write word, 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 over and over until something occurs to me and I start writing again. Sometimes I will draw a spiral if no words occur to me. But the most important thing is to keep your free writing free. Here's an example. When I did the first free write in the looping exercise, I knew I needed to write about a mistake, so that's where I started. I thought I was going to write about what a mistake it is to engage internet trolls on social media. I started writing about that, but a few sentences in, I realized I didn't really want to write about that. So I wrote, I don't want to write about this. Mistakes. Mistakes. What are my mistakes? Suddenly, I had a memory of a student I had in grad school who plagiarized. It was my first year teaching and my first case of plagiarism. I asked the Department of Academic Dishonesty to help me, and the whole thing ended up blown out of proportion, and I really regretted how it was handled. So during my free writing session, I stopped writing about internet trolls and completely shifted topics to the one about plagiarism, and was able to spend the remaining moments writing about that. After you're done with your first free write, pause, reread what you wrote, and begin to look for patterns, interesting ideas, themes, or metaphors that are striking. I call this the sweet stuff. When I do this, I underline words, highlight sentences, circle concepts, and take notes in the margins. Deconstruct that stuff. If you look at my example, one of the things that jumped out to me as I reviewed my free write was my description of my old office as a dungeon. In my memory of that experience, I couldn't help but view myself as the bad guy, because I felt like the procedure created by the University for Academic Dishonesty was so punitive and not based on learning. That image of the dungeon really stuck with me. There were other things, the fact that we were both kids, a mere 4 years difference in age, and we were both stressed out, not at our best. You get the idea here. This is about discovering interesting insights about your experience. After reviewing your original free write, you loop it, doing another free write using the sweet stuff as your starting point. For me, I literally started the next free write with what was the most interesting part of my original free write. We're in the dungeon. I started with the sweet stuff. Also, notice I shifted to using a word processor. I had that idea and I am faster on a computer. So free writing can be done on a computer too. After you've finished another 7 minutes of free writing, you can repeat the whole process again if you want. You may be ready to start drafting your essay, but don't forget that you can free write on a computer pretty easily, and then everything is typed up to delete or move around later. So the next step would be to look for more sweet stuff in that second free write. For me, all I really liked was my first paragraph. As I read it over, I realized I liked that paragraph best because it showed instead of telling. So for my third time through, the plan was to begin with the first paragraph, remove the rest of the paper, and make an effort to incorporate more dialogue and thought shots. You can tell just by looking at this that I got my dialogue in and developed the scene in more detail. I kept writing after my alarm told me to stop because I was onto something and I didn't want to stop the momentum. By the end, I had a pretty good start to my mistake essay. Free writes are not about perfection. Often, the results aren't quite as clean as my example here. I've had a lot of practice, and the pieces don't always come together like this for me. But the thing is, no one ever needs to see them. In fact, although I'm asking you to try looping and will give you credit for turning something in, I'm not actually going to read what you write. That's like peering into someone's messy drawers or dusty closets. But you should get credit for trying. So, just to review the process, begin by free writing for 7 minutes. Then, review your free write, looking for patterns and themes, that sweet stuff. Free write for 7 more minutes, using the sweet stuff as your new starting point. Repeat as necessary until you have a draft. And try alternating handwritten free writes with writing on a word processor. And that's it. Happy free writing!